Hi everyone, and welcome to Val Talks Pets, the forum for pet parents and enthusiasts alike. Having been in the pet industry for over 10 years now, I'm going to share with you issues and questions that arise as I work with pet parents on a day-to-day basis. I am not a veterinarian, but I do have certifications in canine, feline, small animal, fish and herptile, and avian health and nutrition from the University of California, Davis Extension. Hi everyone, and welcome to Val Talks Pets. On this episode, I am going to go through the main things that scare dogs. Pet parents on a regular basis come looking for solutions to a dog's fear of something in particular. So let's get into what scares our dogs. Dogs react so differently from dog to dog. What one dog couldn't care less about, another dog is a drooling, shaking mess. Many of these fears are just about equal on the scale of how severe the fear is to many dogs. I think at the top of the list is thunderstorms. Dogs that fear thunderstorms can go through terrible traumatic fear. Many pet parents notice a storm is coming before it approaches based on their dog's behavior. Dogs that fear thunderstorms often begin pacing, shaking, drooling, yawning, hiding, and even howling and crying. I had a border collie that went absolutely berserk in a thunderstorm. Once, as we were trying to corral him into his crate, he shot out the door and proceeded to run in continuous circles, barking at the sky. We had to put him in his crate, in a room, cover the crate, turn off all lights, and close the curtains. I had a dog as a child that would just shake and shake, cowering under the bed or kitchen table. I remember my dad being up all night with her once, holding her through a severe storm. I've heard some pet parents tell me their dog hides in the bathtub. Tundra, through the last 8 years we have had him, couldn't care less about a thunderstorm. Until just recently. We had a pretty noisy thunderstorm in the middle of the night, and he actually came to the side of the bed, a bit upset, and needed comforting. That was pretty much all of it, but it was a different response we have never seen. I thought that as he is becoming more senior, maybe this contributed. So why do some dogs react so fearful of a thunderstorm? According to vetoftherockies.com, there are 3 possible reasons for a dog's fear of a thunderstorm. These possibilities include canine noise aversion, separation anxiety, and, the real shocker, static electricity. As they also state, though vets aren't sure what all the triggers are, they do suspect that a full-blown storm phobia is caused by some combination of barometric pressure changes, static electricity, wind, thunder, lightning, and low-frequency rumbles that come ahead of a storm. Let's look at one of the possible contributors, which is canine noise aversion. A pet parent may notice that their dog is sensitive to certain noises, maybe dropping something on the floor or slamming a door or fireworks, which we will talk about, or gunshots. That border collie that I mentioned also had this. The farm next to ours gave permission to hunters to come and shoot. I don't know what, but when they were in the vicinity shooting, this poor dog again became a trembling mess. It turns out that according to vetoftherockies.com, border collies have a genetic predisposition to noise phobias. And as further mentioned, a dog could make an association of the thunder noise to rain and automatically go into fear mode when it is only gently raining, not even a storm. The possibility that a dog may have a genetic propensity to canine noise aversion, like with border collies and also Australian shepherds, could help explain the thunderstorm fear. But as stated, it could be a combination of things. Separation anxiety is also a possible contributor. Separation anxiety is a condition in and of itself, but as vetsoftherockies.com state, it is still possible that the uncomfortable and unfamiliar changes caused by a thunderstorm will trigger this form of anxiety. The last possibility is static electricity. This one is probably something that has not really been thought about, but it is a real contributor. During a thunderstorm, the air becomes charged with electricity. As Vets of the Rockies points out, your dog's fur can actually become charged with static electricity. This means that if they were to come in contact with something metal, they would actually get a little shock, especially if they put their nose on the metal. This could explain why dogs will often in a thunderstorm head for the basement or the bathtub, because these areas they seem to know instinctually are grounded and there is less chance of them getting a shock. And as the vets point out, if your dog only reacts in a thunderstorm, but not to noises or separation, then more than likely they are reacting to the static charge. So calming. What can you do? If you think of all the possibilities together or separate, the first thing to think of is some kind of calming device or supplement. There are a lot of calming supplements on the market, from chews to liquids to pheromone calming collars. I like Rescue Remedy because, being a homeopathic, you can administer continuously as needed. Homeopet also makes a good homeopathic specifically for thunderstorms. There are also thunder shirts that swaddle the dog to create a feeling of safety and create reaction through the pressure points for calming. There are also weighted vests and blankets now for dogs. The principle of a weighted vest or blanket is similar to a thunder shirt, providing compression that is seen as a way to alleviate anxiety. So looking at the causes with some remedies, I also think one way to look at thunderstorm fear is to look at the three possible causes. The trigger of separation anxiety because of the uncomfortable nature of the storm may have to be dealt with as you would regularly with the separation anxiety, using calming treats, liquids, shirts, calming pheromone collars, etc. And obviously, you are usual tools for dealing with separation anxiety. I think swaddling in a weighted blanket may help with this, and cuddling. A dog with separation anxiety triggered by a storm will need that extra attention, and I would say using calming devices as well. The canine noise aversion is interesting because I'm wondering if there could be a way to help reduce the noise. I've had a look online, and there are quite a few noise-canceling headgears that could be used. There are muffs and what looks like headphones designed for dogs. The muffs seem to be most popular, but I'm wondering if you could put some extra padding in their ears and then the muff, sort of like the pom-poms that go in horses' ears at competitions. Either way, I think this may be the most effective way to deal with noise aversion. And of course, some calming drops can't go amiss. As for the static electricity, this is a challenge. How do you manage static from an electrical storm? Well, it seems the best advice is to use the calming jackets or weighted vests. These items will reduce the buildup of static on the fur to help minimize the chances of a shock. I wonder if simply putting your dog in a set of PJs or a recovery suit would do the same thing. Obviously, the idea is to reduce the buildup of static. It may work. All right, moving on to the next fear that some dogs have, and this is very similar to the thunderstorms, and that is fireworks. Fireworks has become quite controversial lately. In my town, a survey was sent out specifically about the use of fireworks for personal recreation. The comments online about the use of fireworks scaring people's pets and wildlife is quite extensive. Holidays with fireworks increase the loss of pets, both cat and dogs, tremendously, and they will often bolt and run for cover somewhere. Not only is noise an issue with fireworks, but they also have an odor that is released, and dogs with their acute ability to smell know this isn't normal. There are some really good tips on most SPCA sites that can be incorporated to help your pet get through the fireworks display. Some of the tips on Toronto.com are quite good. Everything from avoiding going out for a pee during the display to having the TV or some other source play soft music or something to override the sound, closing curtains, putting them in a crate, etc. But I think following some of the ideas from thunderstorms can work well. If you know there is no way to avoid a fireworks display, and your dog or cat really struggle with this, try calming supplements and or devices, and I would think the noise-canceling muff or headphones would be a really good idea. The next source of fear for many dogs is the dreaded going to the vet. Dogs have a good memory, and often they associate going to the vet as the place where they were poked, got a jab, had strangers handling them, smelled weird stuff, encountered other animals that frightened them, and all around just an experience they don't want to do again. Some dogs suck it up pretty good and prance into the vet like pros, but others simply turn to mush and refuse to go in the doors. One of the tips or tricks, shall we say, can be used for vet visits is to do just that. Visit the clinic for no other reason than to have treats given and lots of attention from the staff. It is thought that if the dog can have a pleasant experience, he or she will remember this and be more receptive to going to the clinic. It is also recommended that this technique be adopted right away with a new puppy. Another thing to look into is whether your clinic has the fear-free veterinary certification. According to fearfreepets.com, the certification is designed to teach veterinary professionals how to reduce or remove anxiety triggers that can cause pets to become fearful at home, in transport, and at the veterinary hospital. Help owners deliver calm pets to your hospital. Enhance the quality of medicine in your practice. Increase compliance. Improve safety for the veterinary team. The fear-free method uses different techniques to help with pets who have become or are becoming fearful of the vet hospital to eliminate fear. If you know you have a pet with fear or anxiety and stress coming to the clinic, I would suggest asking about whether the clinic has this certification to help you feel more comfortable taking your pet into the vet. I also think that a little support with some calming treats or a drop of their calming supplement doesn't go amiss. But I would inform the vet of any calming supplements you have given so they are aware when examining your pet. I usually give Tundra some rescue remedy when going to the vet just to take the edge off. He doesn't really have an issue going to the vet, but he does get overactive panting, which is a sign of stress that elevates his heart rate. Calming is important for him when he does this. Now, some dogs actually have quite a fear of going in the car. Some will associate the car with the vet, so going on fun rides to the vet store or a play date or a friend's house can be helpful with this associative fear. As Top Dog Tips points out, there could also be residual fear from being taken to a shelter and left, or some other unpleasant trip. Car accident as well can make a dog fearful of getting in the car again. One of the other reasons that can make a dog afraid to go in the car is simply that they get car sick. Some dogs get nauseous from the car, and who would want to go into something that makes you sick? In this case, a pet parent will need to look into some tummy settling meds, but also calming techniques. Sometimes the dog will become car sick because of their anxiety of the car. So a bit of a chicken and egg thing here. The best thing for car anxiety is to do just some practice getting in and out of the car with treats and fun. Then some short 5 or 10 minute drives with treats and right back home. After that, an extended trip to somewhere fun and keeping calming sups on hand and observe if it looks like car sickness may be at the root. These techniques won't work overnight. This is a desensitizing exercise. So time, patience, and love is the key. Let's look at one more fear that our dogs may have. This is object fear. The most common is the vacuum, but can extend to stairs, although not quite an object, but brooms, lawnmowers, some toys, and hoses, for example. Now, I do not have this issue. I can literally vacuum right up to Tundra's nose and he won't move. I have to actually tell him to get up so I can vacuum where he's lying. But some dogs go berserk when the vacuum comes out. Why is that? Well, according to pangopets.com, the vacuum makes a loud noise. As we saw with thunderstorms, canine noise aversion is a real thing. I find the vacuum loud, so imagine the dog with their hearing. The vacuum comes out of hiding every so often and starts invading the dog's territory with this loud noise and smell. As Pango Pets remarks, the dog may be protecting its territory, thinking this crazy thing is attacking them. To deal with a dog that has fear of the vacuum, you can always put the dog in another room or outside while you are vacuuming. Or you can go through the desensitizing exercises to see if the dog and vacuum can get along. This will mean a long period of introducing the vacuum without it running. And then small starts, moving, etc. Moving the dog out of the room being vacuumed does seem a bit easier, but if the dog's behavior becomes over the top and he or she is really experiencing anxiety, then getting the dog used to the vacuum through desensitizing techniques will have to come into play. Very similar to the vacuum, the lawnmower can also cause a reaction. In this case, for safety, the dog will have to be removed from the area. If the idea is to have the dog outside while mowing, just hanging out under a tree or something like that is fine. But being close to the lawnmower is not a safe move. So maybe it is best that your dog go in its kennel or in the house when grass is being cut. Dogs can set up a fear of objects for no apparent reason. Sometimes there is something on your walk that they will not go past, or a certain toy is just terrifying. Some dogs will react to new things they haven't seen before. Some senior dogs may be experiencing some dementia, and what was fine before is not fine now. Some dogs may also have had negative experiences with certain objects. When we first fostered Tundra, he was seriously afraid of the hose. As soon as you picked it up, he would scurry off, slouch low to the ground, and hide up in the trees. I found out that being a community dog, he would have been frequently sprayed with hoses, as this was a method used by the community to control the dogs around the schools. He is not a fan of the hose and keeps a respectful distance, but he doesn't slink away. Someone just told me they are fostering a northern dog, and he's doing amazing well, especially since they have acres of land to walk on. They got out their walking sticks to take the dog, and nope, off he went under the table. Conclusion here, he has probably had sticks thrown at him or beaten with sticks, so as soon as he saw them, he went for cover. The foster mom said, I turned to my husband and said, okay, no walking sticks for a while. Even toys can set up an aversion. If it's a weird toy that has an unfamiliar shape, the dog may be quite thrown and act a bit afraid. Best practice is to just remove the toy, put it away, and maybe reintroduce it slowly. With any of these fears, positive reinforcement is going to be key. Working with your dog with patience and love is really the best way to help deal with a fear of odd objects, especially since there can be many reasons as to why the dog is acting the way he is. Well, there you have some of the top things that scare our dogs. It is so difficult to try and help a quivering, whining dog sometimes because we can't communicate to them that everything will be all right, that the fireworks will be over in 20 minutes, for example. All we can do is reassure them, make them feel secure, and give them the aids they need to get through whatever is causing the fear. Hopefully, some of the tips I have here will be useful. And as always, doing some research is always helpful because, as I say, knowing is caring. Thank you for listening to Val Talks Pets. Please remember to follow or subscribe to ensure that you never miss an episode. To really help the show and to make it easier for others to find, please rate and review each episode that you find interesting and helpful. And don't forget that you can also email me at val@valtalkspets.com with topics you would like me to address or with any questions you may have. Also, check out my website at valtalkspets.com and let me know what you think and how we can improve upon it. Thanks for caring.